Um, Welcome everyone. Today I am going to discuss acceptance sampling. The topics that we have covered so far in the course of quality management or total quality management or quality control. This is one of the most important topics because earlier we discussed about different types of control charts for variables, control chart for attributes. But in real situation, when you will actually deal with all these things, you just need to check the items, you need to collect the data, and you will put those data in Excel file or in other software. Usually the industries, they keep ready-made ready-made Excel file. So once you put all those data, automatically the upper control limit will be generated and the lower control limit will be generated, and you can also able to understand, or you can check out that which particular data point goes beyond the control limits, and accordingly you can decide or check whether my process is beyond is in control or beyond control, or there is a drift uh, or shift in the shift of mean is there. So you can understand it very easily. But whenever you will go for acceptance sampling, then you need to know that how the samplings are actually conducted, and that's why you need to know the practical and you need to know the theoretical knowledge. And this is actually the case where, you know, when the students, they will be working in the industry, they need to do the sampling. If they work in the quality control section, then they need to do the sampling based on single sampling plan or double sampling plan or multiple sampling plan or other different sampling techniques. Okay, so usually you know that you will have mm, two different types of situation you might face. One is uh, batch production and another is continuous production. In case of batch production, you will get the items by batches. But if you have continuous production, then there will be no batch. You will continuously, you will be getting the items, okay, or the products. So uh, when suppose if you get the products in batches, then it is not very practical that you will test every all the items of the lot. Okay, there will be different lots, and it is not very practical that you will be testing all the items of the lot. So what you do, you test some of the items of the lot, and based on the samples, uh, whether the samples are good or bad, uh, depending upon that, you make your decision. Okay, and typically in this case there is an acceptance number or cutoff value. If the defectives are within the value, if number of defectives you get that is within the value, then you accept the lot. But if it is beyond that value, then you reject the lot. This is the common process. So let's first take a look at the definition of acceptance sampling. Acceptance sampling, it is the process of evaluating a portion of product or material in a lot for the purpose of accepting or rejecting the lot as either conforming or not conforming to a quality specifications. 100% inspection is done only for a very few products like nuclear power plant equipments, pharmaceutical products, etc. Keep in mind that in some cases 100% inspection is also done. Suppose for power plant equipments or pharmaceutical products, because the uh, result of, if there is some defective, then the result could be very dangerous. For example, the pharmaceutical products, if the medicine is not appropriate, then the result could be severe. Or if in case of nuclear power plant equipments, if the items are not items are defective, then it could be fatal. Okay, so that's why in some cases, or in these types of cases, 100% inspection is required. And also for the rejected lots, the lots which are rejected, for the rejected lots usually 100% inspection is carried out. That means each and every, once a lot is rejected, then each and every item of the lot is replaced by the good one. Okay, so acceptance sampling plans can be categorized into single sampling plan, double sampling plan, multiple sampling plan, continuous sampling plan, sequential sampling plan, and chain sampling plan. These kinds of sampling plans exist. Now, single sampling plan, double sampling plan, and multiple sampling plan. These are based on when you will have the production by batches, you do these types of sampling techniques. And we will discuss here the single sampling plan, double sampling plan, and multiple sampling plan. These types of these sampling plans we will typically discuss. Okay, so why but continuous in case of continuous sampling plan, we will also discuss little bit about continuous sampling plan later on, but not in this particular class or in this particular session. And in case of sequential sampling plan is carried out for the destructive tests applied to sample. Okay, so in some cases, in these types of single sampling plan, double sampling plan, and multiple sampling plan, usually actually the non-destructive tests are carried out. That means the sample is not uh, the sample, you can further use the sample even after testing. Okay, if the sample is defective, then you might face some problems, but if the sample is okay, then there is no problem. But in case of destructive testing, the sampling, uh, you cannot use the sample again. So in these types of cases, sequential sampling plan is required. And also chain sampling plan is there. Chain sampling plan also deals with destructive types of tests, but that is for continuous production. Whereas in case of sequential sampling plan, it is basically it is used for batch type of production. So, but sequential sampling plan and chain sampling plan we will not discuss in our course, because there are some mathematical there is a lot of mathematical expressions, and it is if you it is a little bit complex, and if in future if it is required, then a lot of articles are available, and you can go through the sequential sampling plan and chain sampling plan, and hopefully you will be able to understand the basic things. And the mathematical calculation part, those things are actually not required. Those things will be not required. You will be able to carry out your sampling plan. You will face no problem. So single sample. So let's discuss now about those plans. First, the single sampling plan. Okay, these are some. These are the notations. Okay, so first, single sampling plan. So when a decision on acceptance or rejection of the lot is made on the basis of only one sample, the acceptance plan is known as a single sampling plan. In a single sampling plan, three numbers are specified as follows. Capital N is equal to lot size from which the sample is drawn, small n is equal to sample size, and small c is equal to acceptance number. If the sampling plan is capital N is equal to 50, small n is equal to 5, and small c is equal to 1, it means take a sample of 5 items from a lot of 50. If the sample contains more than one defective, reject the lot, otherwise accept the lot. This is very simple, that you are taking some, your lot size is 50, and out of the 50 items you are going to test these, some 5 randomly will take randomly, or in some cases not random. I will discuss later on. You will take 5 samples, and then you will check that whether how many defects are there, and C is the cutoff value or the acceptance number. So it is 1. So if you find 0 defective, that means no defective, or 1 defective item, then you accept the lot, or otherwise if you find more than 1 defective, then you reject the lot. This is single sampling plan. Now we'll discuss about double sampling plan. In double sampling plan, the decision on acceptance or rejection of the lot is based on 2 samples. A lot may be accepted at once if the first sample is good enough, or rejected at once if the first sample is bad enough. If the first sample is neither good enough nor bad enough, the decision is based on the evidence of first and second sample combined. In a double sampling plan, the parameters are as follows. Small n1 is equal to number of pieces in the first sample. C1 is equal to acceptance number for the first sample. N2 is equal to number of pieces in the second sample. Okay. And N1 plus N2 is equal to number of pieces in the 2 samples combined. C2 is equal to acceptance number for the 2 samples combined. So if the double sampling plan is capital N is equal to 500, small n1 is equal to 35, small n2 is equal to 50, c1 is equal to 1, c2 is equal to 4, it may be interpreted as follows. Take a first sample of 35 items from a lot of 500 and inspect. Okay. So first you are taking, the lot has a total of 500 items. So first you are taking a sample of 35 items. These 35 items you are testing. Okay. So then you accept the lot on the basis of the first sample if it contains 0 or 1 defective. If there is no defective, or there is only 1 defective, then it means the sample is good enough to accept. So you accept the lot of n is equal to 500. Now reject the lot on the basis of the first sample if it contains more than 4 defectives. If you have more than 4 defectives, say for example 5 defectives or 6 defectives, if you find among the 35 items, then you will reject the lot because the lot is bad enough to reject. Now if you reject the lot, if you accept the lot, then there is no case of the taking again the 50 samples or doing the uh, second sampling is not required actually. But if you get uh, mm, mm, if you get in between, that means if you get the defective one between 1 and 4, that means you can neither accept the lot nor reject the lot. So in that case you need to do another sampling. In that case you will be taking 50 items. Again you will be taking 50 items, and uh, you will check those items that how many defectives are there, and if altogether 35 plus 50, so you will be checking a total of 85 items, and among the 85 items, if uh, in total, if you get uh, four number of you if you get four or less number of defectives, then you will accept the lot, or otherwise you will reject the lot. Okay, that means altogether, if in case of 85 items, if you get more than four defectives, then you will reject the items. But if it is less than four or equal to four, then you will accept the lot. Okay, so this is the case. So what could be the possible scenarios? These could be the possible scenarios. The lot thus may be accepted in the following ways: 0 or 1 defective in the first sample without taking second sample. Okay, so in that case, the lot is good enough, so you will be accepting the lot. Then, if you find 2 defectives in the first sample, followed by 0, 1, or 2 defectives in the second sample. Okay, because in all these in these cases, the number of defectives, it is not go in beyond 4. 3 defectives in the first sample, followed by 0 or 1 defective in the second sample. In this case also, 3 plus 0 is equal to 3, 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. So it is not uh, crossing the limit of 4. Then again, 4 defectives in the first sample, followed by 0 defective in the second sample. In this case also, 4 plus 0 is equal to 4. So it is not crossing 4. So in these cases, in all these cases, you will actually accept the lot. Okay. Now take a look at this multiple sampling plan. The phrase multiple sampling is generally used when 3 or more samples of stated size are permitted, and when the decision on acceptance or rejection must be reached after a stated number of samples. The phrase sequential sampling is generally used when a decision is possible after each item has been inspected, and when there is no specified limit on the total number of units to be inspected. However, some writers use the two phrases interchangeably. A multiple sampling procedure can be represented on a table such as the following. So in case of multiple sampling, you will be doing, you might do the tests for more than 2 times. Okay, it may be 3, 4, or 5 times you can do the sampling. Okay, so first you will take uh, out of the sample size, if the sample size is capital N, you will be considering, you will be taking small n1 of sample, and then acceptance number is C1. If you have this number of items, if you find defectives or less than C1, then you will accept the lot. Otherwise, you will, uh, if it goes beyond R1, okay, so then it means it is bad enough to reject, so you will reject the lot. But if it is within C1 and R1, then you will go for second sampling. Okay, and in this case, you will take a sample size of N2, so your total sampling size will be N1 plus N2. Okay, and in that case, if your if your accept, suppose there will be some acceptance number, okay, and if it is less than that, then you will accept the lot, and if it is beyond the R2, then you will be rejecting the lot. But if it is within C2 and R2, then again you will go for third test. Okay, so in the third sampling method, you will take again the n3 number of samples, and then again, if the acceptance number is, if your, since your acceptance number is C3, so if you find defective less than or equal to C3, then you will accept the lot, or if you find defective items R3, sorry, greater than R3, then you will reject the lot. But if it is within C3 and R3, then you will do again the fourth sampling you should do, and so on. In this way, you will actually proceed up to. Now, here one interesting thing to be noticed, that how can you think this procedure in terms of the double sampling plan? You you have seen that in double sampling plan there was no rejection number. Here in the earlier case, you can see that there was no rejection number, only capital N, small n1, n2, c1 and c2. Okay, c1 and c2. So c1 was the acceptance number, the limit, and c2 was actually played a role in case of rejection number. Okay, so after doing the second sampling, if you find uh, that uh, your in your sample, if you find items more than C2, then you reject the lot. Here you can see that C2 was 4. Okay, after doing the second sampling, if you suppose get that 5 defective items are there, or 6 defective items are there, then you will be rejecting the lot. Okay, so similar thing also here. So this is actually C2 plus 1 for double sampling. If you get C2 plus 1 items, then in case of double sampling, then you will actually reject the lot. And if you get C2 or less than C2, then you will accept the lot. So, and in case of the first sampling, there also your limit was actually 4. Your limit was C2, 4. Okay, your limit was, your rejection limit was C2 or 4 in the first case, because in the first sampling, if you, when you are doing the first sampling, if your if you get more than 4 defectives, you will be rejecting the lot. And taking all together, that means after the second sampling, then also if you get more than 4 defective items as a whole, altogether, you will be rejecting the lot. So just like that. So here also, if you get C2 plus 1, you will reject the lot. Okay, and here also, if you get C2 plus 1 item, then also uh, you will reject the lot. Okay, that was the process. But here actually the difference is that uh, the C2 here, in this case, in case of multiple sampling, the C2 and here the C2 plus 1, these will be the value of C2 will be, it will be changed actually in case of multiple sampling. In this case, in multiple sampling, the final version, the rejection limit will be C5 plus 1. That is okay, just like this. But here in case of multiple sampling, the scenario will be different. Here you can see that acceptance number in the first case, there an example is given. The acceptance number is 0 and the rejection number was 5. Here in case of second sampling, the acceptance number is 1 and the rejection number is 6. Now notice that here in this case, for the rejection number, it is 5. It is not 1 plus 1, 2. Okay. It is not 1 plus 1, 2. So that's why this is the difference between double sampling plan and multiple sampling plan. Because if you perform the double sampling plan, then you will make a table like this. Okay, instead of R1 you will have C2 plus 1, and instead of R2 you will have also C2 plus 1. But whenever you are going through the multiple sampling plan approach, then your R1 will not be equal to C2 plus 1, may not be equal to C2 plus 1. Okay, so that is the difference. And your R2 also, it may not be C3 plus 1. You can see that here C3 is 2 and this is 6. So 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So 6 not equal to 3. Okay. So this is the way how the sampling plans are there and how these things are actually conducted. Okay. Now, one thing we need to notice that when or why we use these types of sampling. What is the purpose? See, actually the purpose of sampling inspection, here one particular thing it is very important, that is the trade-off between the between ensuring quality and cost. Okay, because you can think it in this way. uh, suppose you have a lot and you have several items in that particular lot. Now if your sample size is high, that means the small n, if the small n is high, then what will happen? Then you need to test a lot of samples. So automatically your cost will go up. Okay. But this is true that better quality assurance you can achieve. Better quality protection you will get. That is true. But again, if you take very less number of sample size, in that case your quality protection will be lost, but you can save your cost. So a trade-off must be there. You need to balance between the cost and quality protection. You need to balance between them. Okay. So, and that I will discuss later on, how we can uh, think or how we can balance these things. But now you can ask that there are two questions. Apart from this question, there are also two another issues. One issue is that why we or in which particular cases when we will go for single sampling, when we will go for a double sampling, or when we will go for multiple sampling. Okay, so you can notice it that this is the example of the first example, single sampling plan. In that case your capital N was 50, that means the lot size was 50. In the second case your capital N was 500. Okay, and in the third case, multiple sampling plan, the lot size was 800 to 1299. That means almost 1300. Okay, so when you will have very small lot size, during that case you can use single sampling plan. Okay, but if you have moderate number of samples, lot size, sorry, so in that case you can go for double sampling plan. In that case, you cannot go for single sampling plan. Okay, because if you go for single sampling plan, in that case, more number of items you need to test, so your cost will go high. And again, if you do less number of items, if you test, then there will be no quality protection. So that's why double sampling is required. And again, if your lot size is very, very high, like 800 to 1299, in these cases, you need to go for multiple sampling. Okay. So a multiple sampling plan will generally involve less total inspection than the corresponding single or double sampling plan, uh, guaranteeing the same protection, but they usually require higher administrative costs and higher caliber inspection personnel may be necessary to guarantee proper use of the plants. So in that case, in this case, multiple sampling plan, uh, you are on an, I mean, mm, you will have less total number of inspection. The multiple sampling plan will generally involve less total inspection. Why less total inspection? Because uh, there you will have a lot of lots you need to test, because in each lot you will have less number of total items. So that's why you need to uh, check a lot of lots. For example, you just think about, suppose this multiple sampling plan, in this multiple sampling plan, one lot size is 1000. Okay. So, but if you do the single sampling plan, then you can easily understand that if you go for single sampling, then what will happen? Then suppose your sample size is your lot size is 50. Okay, 50. So 20 lots you need to check. Okay, so 20 lots you need to check 20 to 500 items. Okay, if small n is equal to 5. But in this case, you can, it might happen that you don't need to go at all to the 100 steps. That means the fourth step of 100. Within 3 steps, you can complete your task, or you can get your result. Okay, so that's why usually the as a whole total, the multiple sampling plan will generally involve less total inspection. That's hence less total inspection cost. But the administrative cost may be higher because of higher caliber inspection personnel may be necessary in this case. Okay, so this is another aspect. Okay, so one aspect I discussed, that is the trade-off between the cost and your quality protection. The second aspect is that in which particular case we need to use which particular sampling plan depending upon the lot size. Okay, and the third aspect we have discussed, third issue, that is that why the multiple sampling plan, uh, it involves less total inspection but higher administrative costs. Okay, so now we will discuss another thing, that is ATI, or average total inspection curve. Okay, what is that? The average total amount of inspection called under a program of 100% inspection of rejected lots will depend on the quality of the material submitted. If the material contains no defective items, there will be no rejections, and the amount of inspection per lot will be small n. If the items are all defective, every lot will be subjected to 100% inspection, in which case the amount of inspection per lot will be capital N, the size of the lot. If material is between 0 defective and 100% defective, the average amount of inspection per lot will be between small n and capital N. Okay. So first let uh, understand that what is the average total inspection curve, or why it is important. Okay, I have already discussed about the cases where 100% sampling is required. Okay, in some cases, if you find a defective lot, then each and every item of the defective lot is replaced by the good items. Okay, so in that case, you should find out the number of total inspection, because uh, in the first case you are doing an inspection which is mm, small n. Okay, which is small n. You are checking the items, that is small n, and uh, again then you are uh, if your material, if the items are all defective, then every lot will be subject to 100% inspection. 100% items, all the items will be checked. Okay, so if material is between 0 defective and 100% defective, then the average amount of inspection per lot will be small n and capital N. That is quite obvious, because mm, for if your defective items are, if you, when you are checking the, if you get, if the material contains no defective items, then you are uh, this is small n, and if there is 100% defective items, then there is capital N. So if the product is of quality P dash and the probability of lot acceptance is PA, then on the average, the amount of inspection per lot will be, the ATI is equal to small n plus 1 minus PA into capital N minus small n. Okay, so here actually you can see the graph. They have given an example, and what is the average total inspection. They have found out the result for average total inspection. It is 8,812, and you can see that this is for P dash is equal to 0.05, which is representing the product quality. So you can see that along x-axis, the product quality is represented, and along y-axis, average total inspection or ATI is represented. What is product quality? Product quality means the material, the fraction defective of material submitted for inspection. That means P dash. So if P dash is 0.5, you can see that here in this case, you are getting almost 8,812, this value. So that value is there. You are getting. You make a straight line and you will find 8,812, this. So there's this value you are getting. So with the, so you, if the fraction, if you know the fraction, the product quality means if you know the fraction defectives of the material submitted, and how this value can be known, because from the past data, from the long historical data, or from the past data, you can calculate the fraction defective. That means in the population, how much defectives are there in that particular population. That is known as the fraction defective. So if the fraction defective is given, or if the material property, material product quality you know, then you can find out the average total inspection given the small n, c, capital N, given all this, if these things are specified. Actually, here I need to tell one thing, that how to determine the small n and small c, that means the sample size and cutoff. There is a procedure that how to determine these things. Okay, how to determine the sample size and the cutoff value or the acceptance number, that I will discuss later on when I will uh, discuss the average, the next few slides. In that cases, in the next session I will discuss about those things. Okay, so as of now, you just consider that your small n and small c, that is given. So if you are given the product quality, then you can mm, find out your average total inspection. Now you can ask that why do we need to find out the average total inspection? Because the number of total inspection, it is very, very important thing. Okay, because the more we do the inspection, the more amount of money we spend. Okay, and in some cases you need to do only small n type of inspection, small n number of inspections. Okay, that means only the sample size. Suppose if the uh, uh, lot is accepted, but if the lot is rejected, in that case you need to uh, check out the whole sample. Okay, so that's why you need to do 100% inspection. So in all the cases, uh, your number of uh, sample size or the number of inspections will not be same, and that's why you need to find out the average total number of inspections. The formula of the average total inspection is given as small n plus 1 minus PA into capital N minus small n. And uh, in case of, this is for single sampling, but in case of double sampling, the average total inspection, the formula for average total inspection will be different. Now, now I will be discussing different types of sampling methods. There is single sampling method, stratified sampling method, systematic sampling, and cluster sampling, and two-stage sampling. Okay, so sampling plan and sampling methods, these two things are not same. Sampling plan means what will be, you decide the sampling plan based on your capital N, small n, C, rejection number, these sort of things. But sampling method deal with that how you consider the totality, how you consider the total parts of the samples. Okay, that means whether it is in nature homogeneous or heterogeneous, that sort of thing you actually check. Okay, so whether the way you are sampling, whether it is evenly distributed or not, that also you need to check. So What is single sample random sampling? Selecting a sample in such a way that each item in a lot has an equal chance of being selected is called random sampling. So in case of random sampling, uh, randomly you can take any sample. Okay, this is very straightforward method. Now there is stratified sampling. For large lots, it is better to adopt stratified or proportional sampling by drawing sample items, minimum 2 items from each uh, sublot from all parts of sublots of the inspection lot. That means in case of large lots, so it is better approach that instead of simple random sampling, you uh, make the you divide the uh, large lot into some sublots, and from each sublot you collect the samples. That is known as stratified sampling. Okay, to make sure that from every part you have collected the samples. Then there is systematic sampling, when the items in a lot are presented in an orderly manner, such as piles of mild steel sheets or stacks of cement bags. One item is chosen at random from the lot, and thereafter the items are selected at predetermined intervals. So in systematic sample method, one item is chosen randomly, and after that the items are actually taken at predetermined intervals. You take the item sampling, that is known as systematic sampling. Then there is cluster sampling. In case of small number of packages, when the lot submitted for inspection consists of certain group of uh, clusters of items, it may be advantageous and economical to select a few cluster of items and then examine all the items in the selected clusters. Okay, so if you have small number of packages, then some of the packages you will select. Okay, or some of the few clusters you will select, but you will check those clusters thoroughly. Then there is two-stage sampling. In case of large number of packages, the sample is selected in two stages. First, a desired number of packages, primary units are selected at random, and then the required number of items are chosen at random from the previously selected primary units. Okay, so you can understand the difference between cluster sampling and two-stage sampling. In cluster sampling, a small number of packages, you do the sampling for small number of packages when the lot submitted for inspection consists of certain group of clusters of items. And in case of large number of packages, the sample itself is selected in two stages. First, a desired number of packages are selected at random, and then you randomly you choose some items from those packages. In this case, you do thorough sampling for the few clusters, but here in this case, you check some of the items randomly. You check the packages. Okay, so this is all about the sampling methods.